I'm Oral Hershiser, and I am on the Blue Review. Hey, this is Sean Green. You're watching the Blue Review.
Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. I'm Marcas Grant. That's Greg Bergman. And all things considered, Greg, we'll get into it in some depth, but a pretty good weekend when it's all said and done for the Dodgers.
It was a very good weekend, 2 of 3, and it should have been a sweep.
Should have been a sweep. Yeah, a little bit of a meltdown on Friday, but then they regroup and regather to win on Saturday and Sunday. So we'll talk about all of that and more. But first, we'll let you know the Blue Review is powered by LAX. The next time you're heading to LAX, look up. You'll see the future of airport travel in action as the new all-electric Skylink People Mover train is undergoing testing. For more information, you can visit lawa.org/ESPN. Look at that. That's so pretty.
Yeah, that thing is awesome.
Right?
It's going to help so much.
It's going to be so great. So absolutely. So looking forward to that when it's like fully up and running. In the meantime, the Dodger offense, Greg, got up and running this weekend. They got off to a quick start on Friday night against the Cubs, then sort of slowed down. But I saw signs this weekend that the offense, more importantly, the top of the order, seems to be coming to life a little bit. I think there's some positive signs there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of positive signs. And how much do you think it comes into play that they moved Kyle Tucker down in the lineup? They moved him to the 4 spot, and then they even moved him down to the 5 spot after that. So that seems to put him maybe less pressure on him, and he doesn't have to hit behind Shohei, which, Freddie can hit behind Shohei. He may not always be great, but the fact is you have to protect against Freddie behind him. I think it was a much better fit. It made the whole entire lineup just look and feel better. I don't know. Do you see any correlation between Shohei starting to hit and Tucker not being in that 2 spot?
I don't know. You know what? I hadn't put that together, but maybe. I think the biggest thing for me with Shohei, and we talked about in our text chat, was that he's going the opposite field. He had an opposite field single, and then the home run goes to left field, and that was a thing that I know Anthony Ritrado had pointed out before, that when he is starting to go the other way, that's when he seemed a little bit more locked in. He's not rolling over on those outside pitches and hitting weak ground balls to the right side. So that seems encouraging, but maybe it does. Maybe with Freddie Freeman back there, teams are less likely to try and get Shohei to chase, because that's what he was doing a lot of for the previous 4 or 5 games before this weekend. So maybe having Freddie back there changes some things.
And sometimes it's just a comfort thing. I know just having the guy behind you that let's say you do hit a double, you really truly believe that Freddie's going to hit a single or a double, or he's going to do something that's going to drive you in, or have a professional at bat that's going to be able to move you over. And that just wasn't happening with Tucker. So maybe this is all speculation, but maybe that was pushing on Shohei to be like, okay, I don't know if I can trust the guy behind me. I'm going to have to really press to get on base and make things happen. And, maybe nothing, maybe something. But I think that it all started to change once they moved Tucker down. I think they're going to move Tucker back up there at some point. But at the same time, it was nice to see this offense hitting. It was nice to see this offense actually throughout the whole weekend. They put up 4, then they put up, the 4 was a little bit tough because they didn't hit anything else. 12 on Saturday and backed it up with a 6 on Sunday. It makes you feel better about this offense.
No, absolutely it does. I'm very curious where Tucker does slot long-term in the batting order, just because we've seen him move around. He obviously started the year at 2, moved to 4, was at 5. Some of that, I think, has to do with Will Smith getting a couple days off because his back tightened up a little bit. Max Muncy wasn't feeling 100%. So I guess the plan was on Saturday he was going to get 3 at-bats, and they were going to pull him. It just so turned out that he got his 3 at-bats in like the first 4 innings or whatever it was of the game. So that was strange, because I think we both noticed it. Like, hey, why is Santiago Espinal running for Max Muncy? all of a
It was
sudden.
so early in the game. I'm like, I know they have a lead, but at the same time, like, why are you putting in Espinal to pinch run when he just walked and hit a home run? It just felt odd.
It made me a little bit nervous. I'm like, did he
Yeah.
tweak something? Did something happen that we
The
didn't
first move
see?
is go to Twitter, Max
Yeah.
Munson, search on Twitter. Is what is happening here, and it did say that he's not feeling all that great. So it made me feel better. And then he didn't have to play yesterday, but that was a planned day off yesterday.
Yeah. So that was okay. That was fine,
laugh.
whatever. That
Carlo, you laugh.
we're gonna a little bit of there we go. I think that's gone. All right, we're clear. Yeah, again, Max Muncy, if he just feels bad and needs a day off, great. That was certainly better than what was running through my mind when I first saw Espinal take over at first base. So that's much better. I want to get back to Saturday though, because on top of it being Roki Sasaki bobblehead day, Roki was on the mound and got a ton of run support. That's a good thing.
Yes.
Gave up 3 home runs. Not a great thing.
That's a bad thing.
But I take away some positives from that, Greg, in that, okay, he gave up 3 home runs, but he gave up those home runs because he was doing the thing we've always asked him to do, which was throw strikes. Like, he was heavy in the strike zone on Saturday. I think that shows some progress for him.
It's great progress. Look, when you look, he is such an up and down player. It's so difficult every time you think you figured Roki Sasaki out. And that's why I think Dave Roberts said after it wasn't this one, it was the one before. He goes, "What are you going to get from Roki today?" I don't know.
I really don't know.
I don't know what we're going to get from Roki. And that's kind of what happened on Saturday too. Look, I take that as a positive when he's giving up the home runs, not the home runs, but where he was. And the two of the home runs were not really. I mean, it was just tough.
Yeah.
Like the pitch that was high up to Suzuki, you had 2 strikes on the guy, and he had him swinging at splitters down at his knees, and he probably should have struck him out. But then he decides to go with a high fastball that's right in his swing zone.
High fastball. It just got hammered.
Yeah, just like, hey, this is where you're going to want to hit. If you want a space to hit a home run, this is where I'm going to throw it, right down here for it. So, like, if he's going to throw that pitch, he has to throw it higher. And really, he probably should have stayed down on that. Just keep spamming the splitter and the slider at the bottom of the zone and get him to swing. He was going to swing at one of those pitches down the zone. And if you walked him, I mean, you don't want walks. And then another one, then it was a good pitch. The second one to Amaya, that should have been it was a pretty good pitch, and just Amaya just got to it. So I'm not too upset about Roki's outing. Those ones don't bother me. I don't like the 7 hits. I like the 1 walk.
Yes,
not so much, but where he was and what he was trying to do, you could see that he was battling and he was doing the right type of thing. So that to me was a good to decent Roki outing. It can get better. It shows progress. He just can't go back to now walking 7 guys in his next outing.
Yeah, you see the quote there from Dave Roberts. Today was a really good one, and I hope he feels the same way about his outing. Just attacking the zone. I mean, that's the first thing there, and then we'll sort of build from there with Roki. But I think there was a lot to take away from what he did there. Do we want to talk bullpen? Is there a bullpen issue, or was Friday night just a weird hiccup?
So, and I'm pretty sure none of Trinan nor Scott pitched in the next game, right? In the next 2 games. They didn't pitch for the rest of the weekend. Yeah, because they had a nice leads. But yeah, I mean, Tanner Scott is starting to give up hits again. Blake Trinan is starting to give up hits, and he's getting hit pretty hard. That's the 2nd time in a row. So I don't want to say it's an issue, but I do think that they needed a little bit of rest and they needed to back off a little bit, because it's not great. That is something that is a little bit worrisome. Those ERAs are starting to rise up. Those whips are starting to rise up. And that's something they just need a little bit of time. So it was nice to get those 2 games on Saturday and Sunday where they didn't have to pitch. I still got trust in them. I think, especially Scott, I think he just left one up like he used to do last year. And it got blasted by Dansby Swanson. And also Blake Trinan's, his sweeper is not really moving as much, so he needs to just dial that back. It's probably a mechanical thing. I think they'll be fine. But at the same time, yes, that was tough on Friday, because that should have been a sweep.
Yeah, I mean, to have that lead and to have it get away and have it to get away
Heaven.
just quickly. I mean, it seemed like bang, 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 and then next thing you know, they're down 6-4. It was definitely frustrating, especially because Emmett Sheehan pitched so well
Yeah.
to start that ball game. 6 1/3, gives up just the 1 run on 4 hits, 10 strikeouts for Sheehan in that one, and then gets nothing to show for it just because the bullpen couldn't really handle it. If we were going to diagram the Dave Roberts trust tree here in late April, who sits at the top right now? Is it Vesia? Is it still Scott or Trinan? Like who's at the tip top of the trust tree for you?
So I do think it's still Scott and Vezia and Trinan. I think they're still at the top, but all three of those guys, it wasn't just Scott and Trinan, it was Vezia. Vezia started that off by getting smacked around. I think Vezia has been a lot of smoke and mirrors. I still love the guy, and I think he battles, and he's still a good pitcher. He just doesn't have the velocity hidden right now, and that could be also a mechanical thing. But the trust tree, it's tough, but I think those three are still at the top of the trust tree, and then it goes probably like a drier. I think Will Klein has made a little bit of a jump up there. I think Kyle Hurt is starting to move up. Then obviously Edgardo Henriquez has a little bit in there, but for the most part, I still think your main three are your main three guys that you trust. They just weren't good against a good team, a team that had won 9 in a row going into that, and then should have been swept, but lost 2 of 3.
Yeah, I mean, I said this to you yesterday with the Cubs. I look at them and the Cubs could win the NL Central, or they could miss the playoffs altogether, and neither outcome would surprise me. I mean, they've got some guys who can play, but they also have guys that I think could be streaky. We saw last year a lot of those guys really slumped in the second half. I mean, look, Kyle Tucker was one of them.
Yeah,
he did not have a good second half for that ball club. I think you could see that again with, the Seiya Suzuki's of the world, right? The Miguel Amayas of the world, that they just sort of go into a tank in the second half. And then there's Pete Crow Armstrong, who,
have they become the most unlikable team right now? Like for Dodger fans.
I mean, probably for Dodger fans.
Yeah. Between PCA and Bregman, I just don't want anything good to happen to them.
And then Craig Counsell, Craig Counsell.
Yeah. I mean, just a team that feels like, I don't like you. Why are you talking? You haven't done anything. There's no reason to be speaking out like this. Why are you trying to poke the bear for no reason whatsoever? You're not. We weren't even thinking about you. You're in another division. It's like you almost swept us last year. I think they won 5 of 6 last year.
Yeah.
So why are you talking about the fans? Why are you talking about Shohei and that it's unfair and whining and complaining, little babies? The Cubs are now a hateful team. They were always the lovable losers, and ever since they won that World Series, they got a little stick. I'm not a fan.
I just, my whole thing with PCA is I guess, if you want to get Cubs fans on your side, that's cool. But, if you're hitting 230 all year, it's not really going to matter what you say about other teams' fans. Like they're going to want you to, these fans that are so serious and know so much about the game, they're not going to love you hitting 230 all year long.
Yeah. How's that golden sombrero?
Taking the sombrero on Saturday. Yeah. So I don't know. I see that with the Cubs, that there's a wide range of outcomes with that group. Who knows what they end up being?
Yeah, miss the playoffs. It'd be great.
But, actually, in the short term, though, if they want to go down to San Diego and win 3 down there,
that's fine.
I'm all for that.
Yeah,
I'm all for that. Which I guess we should mention that the Dodgers were actually out of first place for like 2 days.
I know. God, I got so many tweets and on my little TikTok videos. There was actually somebody that wrote something like, "Oh, you're not even in first place anymore." I was like, dude,
it's April, man. They're like half a game back. Like, what are we doing?
I did look. I was like, is it April? Oh, yeah, it's April. Like, because why are we really talking about who's in first place? That the Padres went ahead in April. Cool. Good for you, buddy.
By half a game, and it took them winning. I mean, they had to win like 15 out of 18 or something like that for that to happen. So, but all is right with the world. The Dodgers are back in first place for the moment. Half a game up on the Padres. And 3.5 on the Diamondbacks. I haven't paid attention to the D-backs, but they came back hanging around.
Won. They were down 7-2 yesterday against the Padres, and they came back to win 12-7. So
yeah, so the Diamondbacks kind of hanging around. The Rockies, Sweeping the Mets.
Okay. I don't like to, well, I do, but I like to take joy in other teams' miseries. But the Mets are such a mess. They had a doubleheader yesterday, and they scored 1 run against the Rockies. They got swept by the Rockies and scored 1 run in a doubleheader. That team is a mess.
They're a mess. I mean, it's kind of comedy. But what they're doing is sort of obscuring the fact that the Phillies are just as bad as the Mets have been so far this season.
They don't even have injuries, the Phillies.
No, they're just bad. Is really all it is.
Crazy.
So yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean for this to turn into the National League review of anything.
It's okay.
So I was gonna say. So we talked last week about villains. Can I say that I was very nearly ready after Saturday to put Kyle Tucker in the villain chair?
Really? He was
almost.
Explain. Get to
well. There was that point where he came up with the bases loaded and he hits a pop up, like in a big situation, right? I mean, they had lost Friday night. You were waiting for this offense to really kick it into gear. There was a huge situation, and Tucker pops up, and which was basically worked essentially as a strikeout because the runners can't advance, and you've missed a big opportunity. But it's more than that, and we've noticed it in the group chat. Defensively has not been, I think, as advertised this year. There have been a number of balls where it felt like he could have gotten to them that he's not. It just seems like he's a little bit slow getting jumps or a little bit slow getting to the ball. It's not a complete circus out there, but I've been sort of underwhelmed with him defensively. And so that combination of things had me ready to kind of put him in the villain seat. Yesterday, he ends up having a couple of big hits. And so I'm holding off for now, but I was kind of circling there for a little bit on Saturday.
Look, when you feel it, you should just pull the trigger because there should be a villain at all times. And look, we're trying to help them. But no, Kyle Tucker he had 2 hits. He had a couple of, he didn't strike out as much as he was. Yeah. He's walking a little bit more. But yeah, you could see also that he was making some diving plays yesterday on defense. So maybe someone's saying like, hey, you need to start trying a little bit harder.
You got to pick it up, man.
These fans are coming after you now. And also, we're moving you down the lineup there. You have to notice that something is going wrong here. He looks like Tom Green, too, which I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. But, every time this picture right here, I just see Tom Green. And also, it's like his facial expressions. It just seems like he has I don't think it is, but he seems like he has a little Anthony Rendon in him, just doesn't care about the game so much. I don't know. I mean, that's just purely speculation also, but I'm with you. When you feel it, pull the trigger because he does need to start stepping up and it's not getting there just yet. I'm starting to see a little bit better late discipline, but I don't know, man.
Yeah. I'm looking at the last, 1 strikeout over the weekend. That was it. In the 3 games against the Cubs, struck out just 1 time. So maybe we're starting to see the plate discipline. Maybe he's starting to put the ball in play more. I mean, he barreled up a few, hit the ball hard. He actually hit a couple hard too against the Giants. He had that 2-hit game in the finale, and he hit the ball hard a couple times against the Cubs. So maybe things are starting to turn there a little bit for him. So I mean it's welcome if that to happen. I see Ruben Flores in the chat saying Dalton Rushing is becoming the league's villain.
He is.
I don't know about the league, but certainly the NL West, it seems. He's already taken shots at the Rockies, had to dust up with the Giants. All he has left is to check the Padres, check that box, and then he's got the whole division.
Yeah, no, he is causing some problems for a lot of teams, and that's fine. You kind of like that a little bit. And by the way, our Carino says, I'm very surprised Greg takes Tucker's demeanor seriously. It's because of everything else. When you start putting everything, the hitting, the defense, and then the demeanor, that's when you start looking at it. So that's just that little thing on that. But also, Dalton, be that guy. We need one. I was having a conversation with somebody, I think it was Crash Override on Twitter. He was like, because I was saying that the Cubs are unlikable, and he said, oh, that coming from the Dodgers. The Dodgers have a very likable team, right? How can you?
People just don't like what they're doing.
Yeah. You don't hate the players, though. You don't make the players maybe Dalton Rushing, but that's it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of admitted that we are biased here. I'm trying to think of any truly unlikable Dodger players, right? Shohei, no. Freddie, no. You can't hate Teo.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, Pajes maybe, but
Mookie
really, what
Betts. I mean, it's hard to really hate the players. They just, don't hate the players, hate the game, I guess is sort of where we are at this point right now.
Okay.
Wow, there was this.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Not wrong. You're not wrong.
That's perfect.
That is Tom Green, Kyle Tucker. It is spot on. Thank you for that, Carlo.
Never seen them in the same room together.
Yeah, you have not. You have not.
Can we talk about Wrobo to end?
Sure, absolutely. Let's talk about Wrobo because he was great yesterday. He was. I won't say great. He was effective because he was always in trouble. He always had guys on base, but credit to him for just locking down and not giving up any real damage.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, he was in such trouble in the first 2 innings. He was right around 50 pitches. He had the bases loaded in the first and second inning. I think the first one was a
Noble Tiger, wasn't it?
Noble Tiger, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which can you explain to people?
No outs, bases loaded, ending in team inability to get easy run.
So a Noble Tiger in the first, they had nobody out, and then it was a almost Noble Tiger in the second run because they had 1 out and bases loaded and couldn't get, and Wrobo wiggled himself out of it. So it was really nice to see him do that and really lock in. I felt like he was walking guys. His pitch count was super high, and then all of a sudden you look and he's through 6 innings and over 100 pitches, which is the most he's thrown this year. I think maybe has ever thrown, like at 107.
109, I think it was. Which is I think I saw the most by a Dodger pitcher this year. 109, for Robleski.
Guys don't throw 100 pitchers anymore, and that he was in the 90s when he came out for the 6th inning, which was kind of wild. So like the trust that you're getting from Dave Roberts with Robleski, really impressive. And also the fact that he was able to wiggle out of those first 2 innings and then just shut the Cubs down the rest of the way. He is proving that it's not just against teams that are bad hitting teams. He's proving that he can get out of those situations and can be trusted with his 2 pitches. He did get a couple of strikeouts and screen. Like look at these last 4 starts from Robleski. 0 runs, 1 run, 0 run, 1 run. It's not about the strikeouts. The pitches are high, and he's getting through a bunch of innings. And that Blue Jays one, that was his first start as a starter. So, yeah, I'm really impressed with what Justin Robleski has done.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's been fantastic. And what I really take away from the weekend, too, is that the bottom part of the rotation really did a good job against a lineup, as you mentioned, that came in that was really red hot. I mean, they had won a wild game the day before they got to L.A. Out at Wrigley Field. And between Sheehan, Sasaki having one of his better starts of the season, and then Robleski, they did a good job. The starting pitching did a good job of holding it down over the weekend. So
I also like to see that with what they did to the Cubs, got Robleski's pitch count way up. But the Dodgers did the same thing to Imanaga. Yeah. But they got to Imanaga. So in that first inning, the Dodgers put up 3 after you had the bases loaded, nobody out that they didn't score on. Whenever you get the starting pitcher's pitch count way up like that, you have to make them pay. You have to get multiple runs up there, as you said in the group chat, crooked numbers. Yep. You have to get the crooked numbers on them because otherwise you see it all the time. They just shut you down the rest of the way. And I love the fact that the Dodgers got on top of Imanaga when the Cubs couldn't hit on Wrobo.
Yeah, no, I thought that was great. Absolutely. So Dodgers back at it today. 19-9 is their record. They got a 7-10 first pitch at Dodger Stadium. The Miami Marlins coming to town. So Yamamoto's pitching. That's a good thing. The bad thing is Chris Paddock, who is 0-4 with a 6.38 ERA. How does this go?
We'll see. But we got Scott Kaplan just coming in with all of his Kaplan. All right, let's just end this so Kaplan can have the time he needs. Like Cappy just talking there with his microphone on, coming into the Blue Review. Appreciate you, Cappy. Love you, buddy. But you're live, and we can hear everything you're doing.
All right, that's a good spot for us to wrap this one up for today. Thanks to Carlo for production assistance. Thanks to Cappy for making a cameo late in the show, and thanks to the chat for hanging out with us. Tomorrow we'll be back with you 6:30 to 6:55 here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. For Greg, I'm Marcus. We will see you then. See you, everybody.
See ya. Good stuff.
Alrighty.
We had a little background noise, but I think we got through it.